Hello everyone, I am Sword Caliburn 687, and today I would talk about Sonic X Shadow Generations. If you guys want to support this video, smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's begin the video. Sonic X Shadow Generations, it is a really fun Sonic game, and I would want more from this game. What people want for a Sonic X Shadow Generations DLC, it is more boss fights and more stages. The boss fight that a lot of Sonic fans really want, it is Infinite. Infinite is the boss fight that a lot of Sonic fans wanted in Generations, but he wasn't in the game. There were a lot of Sonic fans that wanted an Infinite boss fight for Shadow, but he's also Sonic's boss fights too. This is a cool idea I have come up with. Why not an Infinite DLC? Sonic Generations having an Infinite DLC, it would be a good idea. Sega should take some notes and some inspirations from Sonic Forces Overclocked, and if it's done right, it would be cool. I feel like that an Infinite DLC for Sonic X Shadow Generations, it could be possible, all because of Null Space. Null Space wasn't explored in Sonic Forces, and it was a letdown. I have seen somebody did a Sonic Forces mod with Shadow, and it was cool. This Sonic Forces mod, it was created by Nuts, and it is a really fun mod. This Sonic Forces mod, it takes voice clips of Shadow in a Green Hill Zone in Sonic Forces. Infinite is warping reality in Shadow's mind, and it does look cool. When Infinite is altering Shadow's mind, he's taking Shadow to different locations from his past. One part of the mod that I like is when Shadow goes into Shadow the Hedgehog, and he remembers the events of racing Sonic, which is cool. This Sonic Forces mod wasn't finished by Nux, and it has a few buggy issues. You can call this mod the original Shadow Generations, all because it was made before Sega announced it. Even though this mod is not created by Sonic Team, it is a really cool mod. Nuts' Null Space mod to Sonic Forces, it is 6 years old. If Sonic Team takes some inspirations from Nuts' Null Space mod, it would be cool. Sega can easily make a sequel to Sonic Generations and makes Infinite the main villain, and it would be awesome. Having a sequel to Generations when Infinite's the main villain, it could be really cool, but I don't think it would happen. The first issue is Infinite as a character. There is a lot of Sonic fans that don't like Infinite as a character because of Forces. Sonic Forces is the most hated recent Sonic game for majority of Sonic fans. Infinite's reception is not well received for a lot of Sonic fans, and a lot of Sonic fans want him to be redeemed as a character. Sonic Team can experiment and try new things with Infinite as a character in Generations. If a DLC with Infinite does well, Sonic Team might put him in more games, and it would be cool. A story DLC for Generations, it would make the game longer, and more people would buy Generations. Sega should take some notes for doing DLC from Bandai. Bandai makes a lot of money from doing DLC in their Dragon Ball games and Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn. If a story DLC pack for Generations costs $60 and we can get 12 more levels, it would be cool. Maybe Sega can make this DLC into a separate game, like the Miles Morales DLC for Spider-Man PS4, and it would be cool. Now you guys can kinda understand why an Infinite DLC would work in Sonic X Shadow Generations, and it would be cool. Let's transition into gameplay. I have some good ideas when Sonic and Shadow works together with their gameplay mechanics for the Infinite DLC. In every 2 stages, Sonic and Shadow would work together with their gameplay mechanics. You can switch between the 2 characters and uses their abilities. How would you switch between the 2 characters? For my idea, Sonic Team should use the D-pad. Sonic and Shadow would get a team homing attack, but gameplay-wise, it would work like a normal homing attack. Because Sonic doesn't have Chaos Control, he would refill his boost meter by killing enemies. Filling up Sonic's boost meter by killing enemies, it would be like the original Generations, and that won't change. Sonic's air boost, it would reach a little bit further than Shadow's, and last a little bit longer. I would want Sonic's normal boost speed to be faster than Shadow, but I think that Sonic Team would make their boost speeds the same. For modern Sonic, I would want to get rid of the drift. Instead of the drift, he would get the drop dash and spin dash. The Sonic Frontier Spin Dash, it is fun, but broken. If Sega wants to port over the Frontier Spin Dash, it should be nerfed. I would want the Spin Dash to be faster than the boost, but it should take a little bit longer to recharge. Sonic Team needs to nerf the Spin Dash from Sonic Frontiers into Sonic X Shadow Generations. When you launch yourself into the air with the Spin Dash, it is pretty overpowered and broken. I hope that modern Sonic Spin Dash would be fun in the Generations. I would like the drop dash to travel a little bit faster compared to Frontiers. Shadow's Doom abilities would probably come back, all because Sega would really want to reuse assets for the Doom abilities. The easiest excuse that I would come up with Sonic Team, Shadow would be affected by the powers of null space, and it would give him his Doom abilities back. Since Shadow would get his Doom abilities back in null space, they're fake imitations, so Black Doom won't take over his body. Gameplay-wise, the Doom abilities would work exactly like in Shadow Generations, with no differences. When Shadow would get his Doom abilities back, Sonic would get his Cyber abilities back. Sonic would use his Psy Loop in his gameplay, and it would be cool. Sonic would use the Psy Loop for switches like in Sonic Frontiers, and it would be a fun mechanic. If Sega wants to do Cyber Supersonic vs. Infinite, it would be awesome. Some people wanted to play Cyber Corrupt Supersonic and wants to play him. Since this is the Infinite DLC and Sonic would get his cyber powers back, and it would be a nice way to finish off the game. Shadow would also help in the boss fight, but he would combine his Doom abilities with his super transformation. I hope that Sonic Team would add a new super transformation for Shadow. I would want Sonic and Shadow to have Mach speed sections when they work together. The Mach speed sections in Sonic Forces, the reason why it was bad, it was too short. To think about it, the Mach speed sections in Sonic Forces, it is not the worst Mach speed sections in the series. In Sonic 06, the reason why a lot of Sonic fans hate the Mach speed sections, it is because it controls bad. In Sonic Lost World, the Mach speed sections doesn't control bad, but the problem with the Mach speed sections, it moves slower than the spin dash. Sonic Forces does has a better Mach speed section, all because you move faster, and the problem with Forces Mach speed sections, it is too short. If Sonic's Forces Mach speed sections were polished and harder, the Forces Mach speed sections, it could be the best in the series. Sega does need to make Forces Mach speed sections longer in Generations, and then it would be golden. My idea to fix the Mach speed sections in Generations, it is to have an option to speed up and to slow down. When going into a Mach speed section in Sonic X Shadow Generations, you would move at the Mach speed of Sonic Forces. When you go fast with the Mach speed section, you would click on the boost button. The boost gauge would be unlimited until the Mach speed sections are over. When not clicking on the boost button, you would still do an auto run, but you would move slower. The controls and the Mach speed sections won't be exactly like from Sonic 4, but Sega should take some inspirations from Sonic 4. Let's transition into stages. For stages, I won't be talking about classic Sonic that much, all because he's not important to Infinite. Who is important to Infinite? It is modern Sonic and Shadow. Sega would probably add classic Sonic anyway, all because it is Generations. The Infinite DLC would dive down into Infinite's psyche and why he hates Shadow. Infinite would trap the whole world in null space, and it would be cool. Sonic and friends would be trapped in null space, so Sonic and Shadow would have no choice but to work together. Since Infinite would be more powerful in null space, he can alter space and time. In Sonic Mania, the Phantom Ruby was much different compared to Forces, and it can alter space and time. Infinite can create illusions, but manipulate space and time too. When going into null space, it would recreate levels in Sonic and Shadow's mind. It would be like Sonic Generations, but I would want the Infinite DLC to be better than Generations. When Infinite is mocking Sonic and Shadow, Infinite would alter reality in some of the stages, and it would be cool. When Infinite is warping reality in some of the stages, Infinite would tell Sonic and Shadow some of his backstories and his military background. Infinite would use the powers of null space, and he would turn his body into a monster. If Infinite turns into a kaiju monster, it would be a really cool reference to the early 2000 Sonic games. Would Shadow kill the captain of the Jackal Squad, or would Sonic get in his way? For my idea, this would create fun interactions and drama between Sonic and Shadow, and it would be cool. I think that Sonic would save Infinite, even though Infinite did a lot of harm to him and Forces, and that is Sonic's character. Sonic would try to reach out and save Infinite, but Infinite would be too far gone. The only character that would reach out and save Infinite, it would be Shadow. Because Infinite and Shadow would have similar trauma with each other, he would save Infinite, but it won't be immediately. Once Shadow figures out that Infinite is the captain of the Jackal Squad, he would save Infinite. Infinite's revenge would have a positive message on not being consumed by revenge, and this message would be good for kids. If Sega wants Sonic and Shadow to save Infinite from his own trauma, I would let them decide. I think that if Sega does an Infinite DLC, it would only focus on Sonic and Shadow. I would imagine if Sega does this DLC, Silver or Knuckles won't be playable in this DLC. Silver I would want to be playable, but I don't think it would happen. Knuckles and Silver did a little bit more things in the story of Sonic Forces compared to the other characters, but Knuckles and Silver were still sidelined in Sonic Forces' story. Silver fought against Infinite, while Knuckles led the Resistance group. Having a cool storyline with Silver that he wants to get revenge from Infinite defeating him, it would be cool. I would want Sega to reuse the custom characters' music for Knuckles and Silver. The custom characters' music, it is about being a new hope for the world and fighting for a better future. Even though I would want Knuckles and Silver to be playable, it is up to Sega. I would add restrictions for the stages I would pick in Sonic X Shadow Generations. This would be restriction 1. Most of the stages that I would pick, it has to be tied to Sonic and Shadow. I have to pick stages from the games that Sonic and Shadow are in, and it would be a fun challenge. Sonic and Shadow would have some stages that is unique to their characters for my list, but that is it. The level design for Sonic and Shadow and Generations, it should take some inspiration from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but in 3D. The level design should be like Kingdom Valley and Chaos Island. Kingdom Valley has a lot of alternate pathways that you can traverse, and it is the best level in Generations. I would want Sonic and Shadow to have alternate pathways in the levels that is unique to their characters, and it would be cool. This would be restriction 2. Some of the stages needs to have war-themed backgrounds. Since Sonic Forces was trying to be a war-based game, the stages need to have war-based backgrounds. I can do a bit of deviations for not all of the stages to have war-themed backgrounds. Since it is the Phantom Ruby, it can create anything that is imaginary into reality. The first stage I would pick, it would be Sunset Heights, but the prototype version. The prototype version of Sunset Heights, it looks similar to that of Rooftop Run, but it has some differences. Sega would probably give this version of Sunset Heights a different name, since it is their prototype version. Sonic Team should reuse some assets from Rooftop Run into Sunset Heights. The level design of this prototype Sunset Heights, it should not be exactly like Rooftop Run, and I would want it to feel different. This prototype Sunset Heights has a castle-like background for the stage, and it does look cool. I think that the Jackal Squad should be a boss fight with this version of Sunset Heights. The second stage that I would pick, it would be Prison Island. Prison Island, it would make sense for Shadow, all because Shadow was first introduced in this location. Sega should combine all the acts of Prison Island into one stage. I think that Sega would do Green Forest well in Sonic X Shadow Generations, all because they recreated Green Forest in Sonic Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers recreated Green Forest in cyberspace. If Sega does Prison Island in Generations, I would want it to be greatly improved compared to the Frontiers version. I hope that Prison Island, it would be a really fun stage in Sonic X Shadow Generations. The next stage that I would pick, it would be Hang Castle. Hang Castle, it would be a really good stage for Sonic and Shadow, and I hope that Act 2 of Hang Castle would be Mystic Mansion. Since Infinite was originally supposed to be based on a ghost, Hang Castle would be good for Infinite. You can still do the gravity gimmick of hanging upside down, and it would be cool. If Infinite warps Hang Castle, it would be cool. And I would also want a transitional stage to Hang Castle. This transitional stage, it would be Egg Fleet. Egg Fleet, it is the stage that a lot of Sonic fans wanted in Generations, and I hope that Egg Fleet would be a good stage. The boss fight I would pick from the Heroes era, it would be the Egg Emperor. Since Shadow doesn't have a boss fight with Dr. Eggman, it would be with the Egg Emperor. In Sonic Heroes, the Eggman that you're facing wasn't real. It was Metal Sonic in disguise. Sonic and Shadow would think this is the real Dr. Eggman, but it is an illusion. With my idea, this would be a really cool callback to Sonic Heroes. The Doom Morph and the Doom Wings, they would count as alternate versions of the Flying Formation. In Sonic Heroes, you can beat the Egg Emperor by doing Thundershoot. When Thundershoot is at level 2 or level 3, it is the most broken ability in Heroes. Shadow's Doom Blast, it would count as an alternate Thundershoot, but it won't be nearly as broken. The Doom Blast would open up the Egg Emperor's weak point, and once you use Doom Blast, it would be fun to pull off. Doom Blast only works for the Black Arms, but there would only be one exception for Doom Blast to work again. When you use Doom Blast on the E-Series 2000 robots, it would work against the Egg Emperor. I am done talking about the Adventure era of Sonic games. Let's transition into the Dark Age era. There were a lot of Sonic fans that wanted a Shadow the Hedgehog stage in Generations, but it never happened. The stage I would pick from Shadow the Hedgehog, it would be Gun Fortress. Gun Fortress, it would be an easier stage for Sega to make in Shadow Generations, all because of the movie DLC pack. Gun Fortress, it would be a really good stage for Shadow, all because in Shadow the Hedgehog, there is a war faction between Gun and the Black Arms. All Sega needs to do, they can reuse the Shadow movie DLC assets into Gun Fortress. Sonic Team can reuse the gun base in the movie DLC pack for Gun Fortress. When Infinite would warp reality in Gun Fortress, he would take you to Black Comet. It won't be the actual gun soldiers or Black Arms. It would be illusions created by Infinite. The boss fight that I would pick from Shadow the Hedgehog, it would be the Gun Commander and Sonic. A lot of Sonic fans wanted a Sonic boss fight in Shadow Generations, but it never happened. Having a boss fight with a fake Sonic and the Gun Commander, it would be cool. I am done talking about Shadow the Hedgehog. Let's talk about Sonic 06. The stage I would pick from Sonic 06, it would be Dusty Desert. Since Infinite was based on the Egyptian god Anubis, this stage would fit Infinite perfectly. Dusty Desert would be a fun stage in Shadow Generations, and I would want it in the game. This stage would be from Sonic and the Secret Rings. It would be Night Palace. Since Sonic and the Secret Rings are storybook games, and they're fictional storybooks, it would fit for a DLC stage. Night Palace, it would be a very important stage for Sonic, all because he faced a Razor Jin in this stage and defeated him. Night Palace would be a really awesome stage, and I do like the section when you go on the magic carpet. Razor Jin with his genie powers, he can alter Night Palace whatever he chooses to, and it would be a fun mechanic. Razor Jin should be a boss fight for Sonic, and Razor Jin, he would represent the storybook games in Sonic's playthrough. Another reason why I want Night Palace, it is because of the CGI cutscenes. Whoever saw the CGI scenes in Sonic and the Secret Rings, it does take place in Night Palace. I don't really need to explain how good these CGI scenes are in Secret Rings, and you guys should watch them yourselves. This stage would be from Sonic and the Black Knight. It would be Deep Woods. Deep Woods is where Sonic fought Lancelot, and it is a cool cutscene. When you go to Act 1 of Deep Woods, it would be a forest, but Act 2, it would be different. When you go to Act 2, it would be the Schreier Woods. In Sonic and the Black Knight, the Deep Woods and the Schreier Woods are near the same location. The Schreier Woods would be a harder version of Deep Woods, and it would be cool. When Shadow goes into the world of Sonic and the Black Knight, he would have Lancelot's armor and sword. Shadow won't understand why he's wearing Lancelot's armor, and it should be a funny joke. The story excuse would be this. Since Null Space would recreate levels in Sonic and Shadow's mind, Sonic and Shadow would have levels that they're not familiar with. Even though Deep Woods would be recreated from Sonic's memories, it would be created by Infinite. I would want Sonic Team to modify Shadow's Doom Blast for him using his sword. If Sonic Team wants to do a King Arthur boss fight for Shadow, it would be really amazing. I am done talking about the storybook games. Let's transition into Sonic Mania. The level I would pick from Sonic Mania, it would be Titanic Monarch. Titanic Monarch, it would be a really fun stage for classic Sonic, and I would want Titanic Monarch in Generations. Titanic Monarch, it is like classic Sonic's version of Eggman Land, and Titanic Monarch, it is a hard stage. I do like Titanic Monarch warping you into different locations, and it would be a fun mechanic. The boss fight that I would pick from Sonic Mania, it is the Hard Boil Heavies. I am done talking about Sonic Mania. Let's talk about Sonic Forces. The two stages that I would pick from Forces, it is the Death Egg and the Eggman Empire Fortress. The Death Egg is parts of Sky Century's background, and I wish that the Death Egg could have been a stage in Generations. The different version of the Death Egg I would pick, it would be Egg Gate. This Sonic Forces level had a potential to be good, but the problem with Egg Gate, it is way too short. There is an annoying quick time event with the Death Egg, and it wastes 30 seconds of your time, and it is really annoying. There is a fleet of spaceships in Egg Gate, but the problem is, you don't go on a spaceship fleet. Sonic Forces Overclock has made a better version of Egg Gate, and it does look awesome. Even though this version of Egg Gate is made by the Duck Dealer and his team, I hope that Sonic Team would make their new version of Egg Gate like Forces Overclocked. For my idea, when you go to Act 2 of Egg Gate, it would be completely destroyed. The destroyed Death Egg was on the map of Sonic Forces, and I wish that it was a playable stage. I would want Egg Gates to be a fully realized level in Sonic X Shadow Generations. The Eggman Empire Fortress, it would be the final level for the Infinite DLC, and it would be a cool stage. All the Sonic characters fought Infinite and his army in this level. With the Eggman Empire Fortress, it would be the hardest level in the game, and the Eggman Empire Fortress, it should be a fun level. Classic Sonic's boss fights from Sonic Forces, it would be Chaos Zero. A lot of classic fans wanted Chaos Zero as a boss fight in Sonic Forces, but it never happened. I hope that Chaos would be a really fun boss fight for classic Sonic. The boss fights from Sonic Forces that I would pick for modern Sonic, it would be the Death Egg Robot. The Death Egg Robot, it is the best boss fight in Sonic Forces, and it is a fun boss fight. Sega can make this boss fight into a modern Sonic boss fight and a classic Sonic boss fight. I hope that the classic Sonic sections of the Death Egg Robot would be greatly improved compared to the Forces version. The next stage, it would be from Frontiers. It would be Aranos Island. Kronos, Aranos, and Renoa, all three should be one island in Sonic X Shadow Generations. All three of the islands that I mentioned, they were all originally one island before Sonic Team divided them. I do like climbing up the towers from the Final Horizon update in Oranos Island. I hope that Sonic Team would improve on climbing up the towers from the Final Horizon update into Sonic X Shadow Generations. When you're on any of the free islands and generations, you would get teleported into cyberspace. The cyberspace level that I would pick, it would be the cyber highway levels in Frontiers. I hope that the cyberspace level from Oranos Island would be really good. The next stage I would pick, it would be Cyber Station from Superstars. I would want Cyber Station to be in Sonic X Shadow Generations, and Cyber Station, it would be a really awesome stage. If we can get pixelated modern Sonic and Shadow, it would look really cool. This would be the stage from Sonic Dream Team. It would be Scramble Shores and Shattered Dreams. Shattered Dreams would be a really good stage for Shadow, and it would be within Shadow's mind. I do like the red crescent moon, and it does look awesome. And I hope that the red crescent moon would be in Sonic X Shadow Generations. Scramble Shores, it would be a really good stage for Sonic in Sonic X Shadow Generations. I do like the beach theme of Scramble Shores, and it does look spectacular. I don't have anything else to say about Sonic X Shadow Generations. I think this would be a good point to end the video. Thank you for watching this video. Like, share, subscribe, but also leave a comment below if you guys really want to see more of my content. Anyway, see you guys soon.